actually, it improves memory, and it also gives you a better way of understanding things, because you're using both your intuitive and creative and the left brain, which is cognitive and analytical, so you're balancing them out. But on top of that, you're using your creativity to create new messages for yourself as well, new ways of understanding things. So all my CDs, whether it's the Alchemy series, which is metaphysically based, so it's working with those that have a more spiritual base to how they want to change their life, to the Take 10 series and the Healing series, which are the Mind Medicine series, which are helping anyone in the street from whatever age change the way they think and create a new way of seeing their world and themselves. I'm very passionate about it because it's tools where people can help themselves, you know, because most people don't believe that they have it within them to change the way they see the world. They can heal themselves. They can also change the way they operate from that hard drive that they've been operating on from a small child. And that's why I'm passionate about it, because it's a really simple way where people can basically hypnotize themselves into a new way of thinking.
And this would include addiction?
Yes, overcoming addictions, overcoming depression. Illness, 60% of illness comes from stress-related, from stress itself. So if you can cut down the stress through going into altered states, even for 10 minutes a day, and the Take 10 series is about that. Take 10 minutes out of your day, go into a rainforest, go into a wonderful tropical island, go on top of a mountain and experience the feeling of that. For 10 minutes, your own virtual reality will completely change how your body chemicals are reacting, your endocrine system, boost your immune system, all from going into a space where you can center yourself from the stresses of the day. It's as simple as that. It's not hard, and you don't need tablets to do it.
Well, you're certainly at the cutting edge, and you're certainly pushing the boundaries.
Well, I think some of us have to do that, because let's face it, there's so much that needs to change on this planet if we are to help one another and actually change what's going on in every sense of our lives.
Well, Mary, we can get to talk about belief systems, which is something you deal with every day. Here we have, for example, when a Chinese person dies, passes away, the family would come here and they'd buy an effigy. Let's say, for example, he liked a flat screen TV. They would buy the paper flat screen TV or the video player or even phony money. And what they would do is they would then set it alight, burn it, so that the deceased up in heaven would then have access to all these terrestrial luxuries. He even has a car. So the family might buy a car. This is all part of their belief system. And of course, most of your work, if not all your work, is about tackling the belief system. So how do these belief systems regarding, let's say, the afterlife, etc., how does this fit into what you're doing, and what challenges does it have?
Well, the important thing is first is to work with someone's belief system. But what you must understand is a lot of people that are exposed to ET contact and UFOs, for example, they may not have even believed in them to begin with. They may not, you know, people seem to think that they're Star Trek fanatics that want to believe they're taken up onto spaceships. Actually, for many people, they've never really thought about and watched Star Trek. They're not in the slightest interested in UFOs and aliens, but you can't deny looking out your window and seeing something that's not part of your belief system, that's in the sky and is, you know, a saucer shape that shouldn't be there, for example. How can you get over the fact you can walk into your lounge room and there you're seeing a being that looks completely strange and alien, excuse what I'm saying here, but literally alien to you, and you think you're going crazy? And this happened to a good friend of mine who was a social worker. She said, I honestly believed I was going crazy seeing these strange things in my lounge room. It wasn't until someone knocked on the door, who was my friend, walked in the door and said, do you realize you've got strange things in your lounge room, that she realized it wasn't just her. So this isn't about a belief in aliens and UFOs. This is about, for many people, the experience challenging their belief system that says aliens and UFOs don't exist. And that's extremely important. But when people come to me, it challenges their religion, it challenges their psychological beliefs, their anthropological beliefs, right across the board. Every area of information, if you like, that we've been taught to believe in is challenged once you've seen either a UFO or you've had experiences that take you out of the physical realm and into experiences where you feel you're going through walls or going through a ceiling or whatever. And it also takes you into the realm of soul, because when you have people, we know that we have this belief about what happens, but that's a belief, not an experience. When people have been taken onto the spaceships, some of them have seen not only obviously strange ET beings, which may look humanoid, may look like reptilians, may look like mantis beings, may look like little zetas, but some have said they've seen orbs of light. These things have been captured on digital camera, for example. And I've had one young teenager say that when he saw these orbs of light, he recognized them as the souls of his grandfather, his uncle, and another family member that had actually passed on and were actually going with the ETs onto the spaceship, these orbs of light, which suggests that as a soul, we become some kind of light being or some orb of light, and we exist like that because that's what he was seeing. Yes, someone who's died has actually been seen on the spaceship, and I've had evidence of that with a number of people that have said that they knew this person had died some years ago, and yet on that particular experience that night, they actually saw them on the spaceship and often helping these ET beings. So it does suggest that some of these intelligences are actually working on other dimensions or other levels, which we call the levels of soul, which again takes this to a very profound place if some of these intelligences are actually doing that.
Do you think you'll be doing any more work on this subject of, let's say, the afterlife and how it interacts with ET?
I think it's very, very important and fascinating that we're getting evidence perhaps that some of these intelligences at least are working on that level, and the evidence that they are in fact working with soul with and one of the latest parts of my research is where a young woman or a young child was shown the soul of her son before he was born as a ball of light. So we're getting into an area now that is extremely intriguing and may challenge a lot of belief systems. But what I feel the ET interaction is, it's about challenging all the beliefs that we have and getting us to gain a new understanding of what actually is real in terms of human experience. Rather than what we're taught to believe, we're now being given experientially more of a truth of what our multidimensional reality consists of.
It seems you are sort of pushing the boundaries and going much further than when all the other protagonists have actually sort of stopped. You're pushing us into a new paradigm, really, of new research into the subject.
Well, actually, it's the people coming to me that have forced me to actually start looking at this. This isn't something I sought, but what seems to be unfolding. And I find that I'm constantly being challenged to open my paradigm even more than I'd ever done before. It seems like this whole area is like the onion, that you're constantly unpeeling another layer or joining the dots to something new. But I can't dismiss it. When enough people are telling me a similar thing, you've got to say, well, this is another pattern. It completely challenges maybe what you've believed up to that point. But I think that if we stop at where our belief system and where we're comfortable, we're never going to find out more about what we term multidimensional reality. And the only way that we can do that, other than wait for the scientists to catch up, is to go with human experience. And when enough people tell you one thing about whether or not it's a dimensional experience or whether it's experience to do with something to do with the afterlife, if enough people are saying the same things, then you've got to start taking it seriously, because these are people that are very, very credible in many cases. And as you know, I work with psychiatrists, doctors, nurses, social workers, and people from, the academic paradigm that are being challenged through their own work even to take on this new paradigm. But this is what human experience is all about.